spend your time with us here at the Global Institute of Business Studies, Bangalore. Today's theme, AI-driven HR, redefining human resource management, is all about exploring how artificial intelligence is reshaping HR practices in talent acquisition, performance management, employee engagement. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers and panelists who will share their expertise and experiences. And I'm sure we are all going to walk away with some great insights. Before we get started, may I kindly ask everyone to switch their phones to silent mode. Let's make sure we can all be fully present for today's sessions. Thank you. All right then, let's get started. To begin our day on positive note, I'd like to invite our distinguished guest, Mr. Ashish Mahajan, Global Head at Therapy, Mr. Praveen Kamath, General Manager HR, Global Strategic Hiring and Redeployment at Wipro Limited, Ms. Pallavi Kar, Associate Director HR at Tablespace, Mr. Sumit Premi, Director Talent Acquisition at Flipkart, Ms. Anjana, TA Manager, British Telecom, Dr. Jayanta Chakraborty, Dean and Principal GIBS Business School, and Mr. Mohan Raj TS, Dean Placements and Corporate Relations, GIBS Business School, to come forward and light the ceremonial lamp. This beautiful tradition symbolizes the journey from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished guests to the stage.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमोऽस्तु ते ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः ओ दीपब्रह्मरूपस्त्वं ज्योतिषां प्रभुरव्ययः आरोग्यं देहि पुत्रांश्च मतिं स्वच्छां हि मे सदा रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् रवेरस्तं समारभ्य यावत् सूर्योदयो भवेत् यस्य तिष्ठेत् गृहे दीपः.
As we light this flame, may it serve as a beacon of the passion and purpose that guides us through the momentous occasion. Thank you, dignitaries, for helping us start the day with this meaningful gesture. And now, to officially welcome you all, I'd like to invite our very own Dean of Placements, Mr. Mohan Raj TS. His core passion has always been education, and he has garnered more than 2 decades of experience in this field. His beliefs that fitting the perfect training for passionate learners is key to giving them an edge in the marketplace. He has been exposed to various responsibilities throughout his line of work, from executive strategy, talent management, sales and marketing, to operations planning and execution, that has allowed him to generate cross-disciplinary insights and enhance cross-departmental performance. He has worked with highly reputed educational institutions throughout his career, and his last assignment was with SP Jain Global, managing placements for Dubai, Singapore, and Sydney campuses. Currently, he is the Dean Placements and Corporate Relations at GIBS Business School. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Mohan Raj.
Thank you, Praveen. Happy to see the packed audience, even on a working day. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to our Managing Director, Mr. Ritesh Goyal. Unfortunately, he's not here because he's suffering from some throat infection. Welcome to our Dean Academics, Dr. Jayanta Chakrabarti, Program Chair, Bharat Gopalan, and our dedicated academic team, corporate relations team, strategic alliances team, our distinguished keynote speakers, our esteemed panel speakers, and the audience present here. The next 150 minutes, we promise it to be thought-provoking as our expert speakers will delve into the theme of AI-driven HR, redefining human resource management. Well, further, without ado, let us flag off this event. I encourage you all to immerse yourselves in the discussions and enjoy the rest of the sessions. Thank you for being part of this enlightening event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohan Raj, for such a warm start to our day. Now, it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Jayanta Chakrabarti, Dean and Principal of GIBS Business School, to say a few words. Dr. Jayanta Chakrabarti is an accomplished professional with a diverse educational background, including a PhD in Business Analytics and Digital Marketing, an MBA in Marketing and Finance, an MA in Economics, and a BTech in Mechanical Engineering. With over 30 years of experience in the steel, education, and IT sectors, he has led strategic consulting projects for global companies and held leadership roles in various universities. He's also an author, patent holder, a prolific researcher. Currently, he serves as the Dean of GIBS Business School in Bangalore, India. Let's welcome Dr. Chakrabarti with a big round of applause.
Distinguished guests, Honorable Dean Placements, MD Sir and faculty members and all my dear students and all the esteemed guests who have come today. Warm welcome to this symposium where we are discussing a very important topic. 25 years back when my wish was to do a specialization in HR. So I went to my teacher and asked, sir, what is HR? So our HR faculty told us, look, HR is, after doing everything, whatever is left is HR. So I said, sir, can you please explain? Oh, like filling up petrol in the boss's car or taking the boss's children to school, that is HR. So I did not specialize in HR, I shifted to marketing and finance. That was 25 years ago. Then the role of HR changed, and why it changed was because we moved into the knowledge economy where the companies were driven by intellectual capital, and there was literally a fight for intellectual capital because everybody was trying to acquire the best of talent. We no longer call human resource, we actually call talent, and we define in terms of talent acquisition, talent management, talent retention, and all that. So what happened out there, companies like my friends who joined Infosys, and they would not be directly deployed in the job. They will be sent to Mysuru training organization where they would be trained for a year and then they would be deployed in the on-job this thing. So it was all about talent development, and many organizations came out with different strategies. The role of HR increased manifold. You have to get the best of people, you have to deploy them in the right tasks, you have to keep them motivated, you have to pay the right compensation and rewards and recognition, and you have to retain them also. But last 5 years, the move has been towards automation. So right now, we have bots which can actually identify talent, bots which can schedule interviews, bots which can tell you which questions to ask in the interviews. And there are two scientists called Anindo Dey and Gitali Haldar of Hewlett Packard. They have also developed a model which they call flight risk model. So based on certain questions, they can predict during the interview itself that how long the employee is going to stay in the organization. So the move has been towards automation. The move has been towards reducing the human component in HR. And the move has been towards making the functions more effective effective in that way. Now, what does that hold for us in days to come? Okay, we always know that human intelligence is miles ahead of artificial intelligence, so the threat is not from AI. The threat is from ML, machine learning, because whatever AI does not know, AI learns from us. Okay, and that is where we are seeing in recent times that the gap between HI, which is human intelligence, and the gap between HI and AI is reducing. Having said that, we are not machines, we are human beings, so the human component always has to be there in organizations. Otherwise, there is hardly any difference between a machine-driven organization and human society. So what does it hold? There are plenty of questions to be asked, and I thank Mohan sir, the team of our placements team, and everybody who worked hard to make this successful, because there are plenty of questions in our mind, and we have the best of best experts from Bangalore and all over the country who can answer those questions. So let us open the forum and make the best use of this precious time which our honorable guests have given us to come all the way and share their thoughts with us. I'm sure at the end of the day, we'll carry back very important learning which we can use in our workplace and also in academics. Thank you very much. Welcome to the HR Forum.
Thank you, Dr. Jayanta Chakrabarti, for setting such a thoughtful and engaging tone for today's conclave. And now, it's time for our first keynote speaker. We are privileged to have with us Mr. Ashish Mahajan. Mr. Ashish Mahajan is a seasoned leader in talent acquisition with over 20 years of experience in building and transforming talent acquisition strategies for global multinational companies across sectors such as technology, IT services, consumer internet, financial technology, and startups. He specializes in creating innovative, candidate-centric recruiting models and is highly skilled in building data-driven, scalable talent plans, high-performance recruiting teams, and the infrastructure needed to attract, retain, and develop exceptional talent. Let's give him a warm applause.
Good morning, everyone. It's been a privilege as well as an honor to be here and talking to all of my distinguished colleagues of industry and academia and their students. The topic today is quite interesting. It talks about AI and its impact in terms of HR. Let's go back to history. Does anyone remember which was the first tool which was launched in HR? Any guesses? And in which year? It was Job Watch. It was in 1990. There was a company in America when the internet age, in fact, started, the technology age started, and it was the first tool which was designed and which was implemented in 3 or 4 companies in America. And it really helped them in terms of reducing a lot of labor work, specifically labor and manual work, specifically when it came to hiring talent. And then came the advent of job boards across industries, your Naukri, your Monster, your Dice, which had strong parsers in them, where you could, with a click of button, could do a lot of searches, and the tools were able to present you with a good amount of candidates in front of you whom you could reach. But in today's scenario, do you think how exactly the overall shift has been in the HR parlance with the advent of technology? Because all of us are talking about AI, all of us are talking about machine learning, right? And then on one side we talk about whether there will be a dearth of jobs, because AI is coming, new tools are coming, new technology is coming, how it is going to impact the overall job industry. Is AI really going to mimic the way human work? All these questions are always in our mind, right? We are in an area, or we are in the brain where we typically use a lot of technology on daily basis, your mobiles, your OTT platforms, which is your prime example of AI. While you log into Netflix or while you log into your Amazon Prime, the suggestive as well as the predictive AI will be able to let you know what content you need to watch on these OTT platforms. It is nothing, it is just all about AI, because they are trying to understand your pattern. And when they understand your pattern, the way, the sort of content you are watching, they are able to predict and they are able to give you what you are able to view on the screen. We are in an area, Rain, where we want pizza to be delivered to us in 30 minutes, as quickly as possible. Let's talk about if hiring and talent would just like be ordering in pizza. It is just getting delivered to your inbox the way you want. Like when you call up a pizza delivery center, you would talk about, I want this sort of a bread, thin crust, or a double layer with double cheese, and these sort of toppings. With the advent of AI, it has moved into such a direction. We always believe that hiring talent should always be like that, where I could think about, okay, this is my job, I need these toppings, so it should come to my inbox immediately. Do you think it is possible? Yes, with AI. There are a lot of tools right now which organizations across the world are being engaging, right? Which typically helps them to completely automate the overall hiring process. If you look at HR as a stream, right, it focuses from the time you want to hire a person till the time the person retires. So it's completely in hire to retire model, right? So when you look from that perspective, each and every function within HR in today's scenario is being, in one or the other way, being impacted in a positive way by AI. There's a recent report from Gartner which talks about 38% of the CHROs feel that by the end of 2026, 75% of the organizations will start focusing more on AI-driven technology. So what does that exactly mean? If you look at from that perspective, all functions within HR in some or the other way would be using AI to increase the productivity, to make a shift so that it helps organization to create and provide a great value-driven services or an experience to their employees, to the candidates, to the people who are working within the organization. what should I do next? And we always used to think about some sort of a technology which could come, which could be leveraged, and which could help us in terms of easing our operations. And that's where AI has come to our rescue. The first such tool which came in recruiting, which could help and analyze resumes specifically, was a tool called Hire Melcanelli. The idea was to look at a profile, look at a job, understand what are the skills which are required, what is the expectation of the job, and based on that, the tool was able to screen and give you a good amount of shortlisting by looking at the job description. And that's how the advent of AI came into picture in recruitment. But ideally speaking, the first tool which came into picture in AI was HireView. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about HireView as a tool. It was more of a video tool which used to assess the video interviews. And that tool came somewhere in 2004. So AI, if you look at in form of talent acquisition, has really been a blessing to recruiters. That's what exactly I feel, because it has been able to help recruiters to make sure that they are able to add a lot of value in their recruiting process. Because if you go past date, we were only talking about filling positions. We were only talking about, I have these many open roles, I need to fill these positions. We were not at all talking about candidate experience. We were not talking about stakeholder experience. We were not talking about predictive analysis. We were not talking about structured approach in hiring. We were not talking about data-centric models. All these things have only been originated and have been only been able to be here just because things have been getting transformed into a new way by the usage of AI. The moment you apply for a job, you would always expect the organizations to revert to you. Think about a time where a recruiter used to get thousands and thousands of applications for a single job. Do you think it was possible for a recruiter to go back to a candidate, to all those 1,000 candidates, and state that about the status of their resumes on each and every level of interviews? Because recruiters also are humans here. But with the help of AI, at least you are, with the able of a single button, you are able to understand which are the profiles which are suitable, which are the profiles which do not make the cut. So from the very first beginning, you are able to engage with the talent. You are able to give them a great interview experience. Because what is candidate looking at? Candidate is looking at communication from the organization. If I'm sharing a resume, I would expect organization to reply back, right? I would expect organization to give me a feedback and let me know what is exactly happening on my profile, whether my profile is matching the job. If it is matching the job, how much percentage, what is the feedback, when exactly the interview is going to happen, who is going to speak to me. And that's only possible because with the usage of technology, we know which are the resumes which are making cut, how exactly timeline that is going to take to move in the interview process. And with the advent of technology, what is also happening is that the technology is also able to understand my approach to hiring. They are also able to understand the patterns. What are the different patterns we are using in order to screen, shortlist the resume? What are the patterns in terms of interviewing? What sort of talent we are looking at? From which organizations we are looking at talent? And what sort of work that talent has done? So this structured approach is being used by AI. And with the help of this structured approach, the AI is able to give us the wide and the right variety of results, which helps us to understand and to move to the next stage of our hiring. Right? That's one part of it. Second, AI is able to also give us a lot of information in terms of predictive analysis. So when I say predictive analysis, AI's typically technology looks at our past data. They look at if I've hired 100 people on a specific skill, they would look at my overall past data to understand to hire these 100 people, what is the resume count which I've looked at? And to get 100 people joined, what is the number of offers I've rolled out? To get these many offers rolled out, what are the number of interviews I have done? To get these many interviews done, what are the total number of resume count I have to look at? What has been my sourcing ratio? What has been my sourcing mix? What has been my selection ratio? So the AI is able to give me all analysis, and through that we are able to predict and analyze that how do we take this particular hiring into the next step. So these predictions typically help us to plan and work on our hiring models, and through which we are able to understand that within what timelines we'll be able to move forward in order to close those open roles. Apart from that, AI is also able to help us in terms of looking at data, understanding data patterns, understanding data from a wide variety, from a wide perspective. It will give us a lot of information in terms of if I'm hiring on a specific set of skills, right, which organizations I have to target, what sort of talent I have to target, which industry I have to target. So those all analysis are shared in a click of minute, and that helps HR leaders to go ahead and plan accordingly. And that's what exactly I have been seeing since the time I've been using AI in my day-to-day routine. I'm sure most of you would be using ChatGPTs, right? So does that help you? But why do you use ChatGPT? Anybody? Yep. Okay, it gives you responses? Okay, you don't have to break your head. Okay, that's a lovely answer. Anybody else? Any reason why do you use ChatGPT? Okay. In order to create the right JD, you have the skills and everything. Fair enough. Yep, that's a good example in terms of usage of AI in talent acquisition. Using what I would say is ChatGPT or any Gen AI tools to give you information. Fair enough. So if you look at talent acquisition as a function, and if you divide further subdivide talent acquisition, right? Each activity of talent acquisition is more of an experience, right? Because the time you get a requirement and the time you reach out to first time you reach out to a candidate, you need to provide a great experience. It itself is an experience. And then when you speak to the candidate and then you reach out to your hiring manager with a resume, that itself is a different experience, right? And while you focus in terms of giving a great candidate experience to your candidates, right? As a recruiter, it is also your duty to provide a great experience to your stakeholders. And how can you do that? Again, AI helps out you there. Because while you understand through the job what exactly an hiring manager is looking at, the AI also tries to understand and read the patterns on which your hiring manager is shortlisting and screening those resumes. So while your hiring manager is screening those resumes, so you know from the very basic go that what sort of profiles are gonna be more likable by your hiring managers. And that's where you work very closely with AI to make sure that you give them only set of profiles where the probability of shortlisting by the hiring manager is always going to be higher. And that way, you're helping hiring manager to give him quality of profiles. Because your hiring managers will always complain that the profile quality is not good, the profile quality is not good. But when you go back and ask them that what do they mean by profile quality, or what sort of a quality they're looking at, they may not be able to answer. So that's where AI comes into picture, because they try to understand those patterns, they try to understand those dynamics, and based on that, you're able to give a great stakeholder experience to your stakeholders. Because ideally speaking, they don't want to look at quantity of profiles, they always prefer looking at quality of profiles. And that's how you are able to build in a strong rapport with your stakeholders. And in today's scenario, believe me, this is gonna be a key and successful mantra if you want to work very closely with your stakeholders, as well as you want to make sure that you gel well with them. Talent acquisition, no doubt, is one of the key areas. But apart from talent acquisition, there are other functions within HR. Onboarding is another key function. Because when you have rolled out an offer to a candidate, right? And the candidate, it's a time that candidate wants to join the organization. Candidate would expect that I should have a great experience, or a great onboarding experience, or a wow experience on the date of joining. And how do you go about doing it? Because there are a lot of paperwork needs to be done, a lot of forms need to be filled, right? How do you make sure that the onboarding is not that boring, that mundane, right? So with the advent of AI, what has happened is that the AI is able to capture a lot of information which is there in your resume. AI is able to capture a lot of information which you would have submitted while submitting your documents. And instead of filling up those boring forms, that data is already in front of your HR operations person or your onboarding person. And it becomes easier for you that instead of those boring forms, you are given a overall complete summary that this is the information which we have collected. Do you want to make any changes or is everything good to go? So that's one way AI has been able to create specifically in terms of the onboarding experience, because everybody wants that their overall experience on the first day goes very smoothly and it is without any challenges. And even if you look at with the advent of all these new chatbots which have been coming in, because when you join an organization, you are here and there, you really don't know whom to go and connect, who is the person who can give me the right set of information. If I have to inquire about leave, if I have to inquire about if I have to give any bank account details, or if I have to look at where exactly I'll get my pay slips, whom should I connect? Should I go and disturb my buddy again and again? Is it right? And that's how organizations thought of introducing chatbots, AI-driven chatbots. The moment you plug in, put in information that I need certain information on leave policy, or I need information in terms of the payroll process, or I need information in terms of my medical insurance details, or I need to submit a referral for an open job. All these information would be there in front of you in a jiffy. And that's how AI has been able to bring in terms of engagement, in terms of providing a great experience to the employees. So that's how AI has been revolutionizing in a very positive way the HR function. In fact, if you ask me, today is the time where everybody looks at a great experience. Even when you join an organization, right? You want to be engaged. You want information to be delivered in a jiffy, because it's an information age. It's a technical age, technology-driven age. You do not want, if you have raised a query, you do not want the query to be answered a day after you have raised the query, right? And in that scenario, when you have tools or the technologies in front of you, if they are able to provide you with that information, believe me, it's always going to be a blessing in disguise. And it has really helped organization in one or the other way to make sure that whatever is asked, that is being delivered at the right point of time. But many times, a lot of question comes to our rescue, or there are a lot of myths that with the advent of AI, is my job gonna be in jiffy? Is it something which is gonna be where is it gonna be taken by AI? What's gonna be the future? Is it how exactly it is gonna impact? Do you guys really think with the advent of AI, the jobs are really gonna be taken away by the AI? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, hi, good morning everyone. I'm Eugene.
Okay.
My perspective is that AI and HI, if work together, the jobs can be substitutable or complementable. So human and artificial intelligence or machine learning can work side by side, and by such means the reduction of time and labor or the workforce required for a particular completion of a job can be reduced, and it can be done in a great perfection.
Okay, very well said. Right. See, if you look at AI tools are typically designed to enhance human capabilities. At the end, it is humans who would be running these machines. So these tools will typically enhance human capabilities, and they will be useful in delegating the task. But if you ask me whether they would be ones which will be replacing employees altogether, I don't think so. Because being in HR function, what is more important is you need to be very pervasive, you need to be very empathetic, you need to bring that human touch. And that's only possible with humans only, because you need to be very kind, you need to be empathetic, you need to bring that behavior along with it. And that's only possible with humans, not with machines. And other thing is that, see, if you talk about jobs, it's only the repetitive roles, the roles which are quite repetitive in nature, right? The roles which will involve a lot of data entry work, or the roles which are repetitive will typically will get obsoleted. And with the advent of technology, we need to upskill ourselves, and so that we can leverage the use of technology and we'll be able to move into the next level.
Sir, I have a small query.
Yeah.
So this is like A versus TA talent, TA processing. So now it is a bit challenging even in future. So we are hearing it's been like from 5 years when it is moving to AI-driven HR process. The first threat to talent acquisition team, something like that we are hearing. But as of now, it is helpful a lot. When we supposed to post a job in LinkedIn, so when we are keeping the hiring tag, it asks us for give the job description. And when we mention some example, Java developer, it itself writing the JD. We no need to type anything. It is giving like mostly 200 words JD itself. So which is almost matching our priorities and all. So these are helping now. In future, like, is there any threat to the at least or layoffs for TA team with AI-driven processes and all?
See, as I mentioned that AI is more of an enabler. It's typically gonna ease your task. It is gonna help you in your day-to-day activity, right? So what is more important is that how do you upgrade or upskill yourself so that you can fight against whatever is prevalent currently in the industry. Because the skills which were relevant maybe 10 years back, or maybe a year back, or 2 years back, or 3 years back, they may not be relevant today. So upskilling yourself is going to be very, very much important. If you do not upskill yourself with the need of hour, then definitely it's going to impact you. But if you are moving purely based on the current skills, whatever is the need of hour, I don't think so it's going to be impactful. Any other questions?
Hello sir, this is Manognya, I am from Infosys. As you rightly said, human touch is definitely important, and as long as that is there, we are not going to lose anything. Having said that, if we look into AI in talent acquisition, I just wanted to understand, is AI really helping us? I'm not being the devil's advocate here. Is AI really helping us, or is it increasing our work? When it comes to higher view, we see that it's completely AI driven. It is judged by our video, right? I have given a couple of high view interviews as well. So, I just wanted to understand, how is it really helping us in the right manner? We don't know how many wrong hires are going there. Is there any data for that?
See, now it depends upon, see, if you ask me, AI definitely is helping, specifically in data, in strategic decision making, in data driven decision making, right? That is definitely. helping the talent acquisition leaders in those lines. So you talked about HireView, which is more of your video interview platform, right? See, it's a great platform if you ask me, because HireView as a platform, the intelligent engine within that platform helps you to understand the overall, I would say, psychology of a person, how the person overall is, because it will go deep dive to understand whatever the person has spoken during the video interview, which is for 5 to 10 minutes, and you would have specific questions for that. So the tool will be able to analyze and figure out whether that particular person really fits within your organization or not. See, we use HireView as a tool in our organization, all right? So what we try to figure out during our interview analysis, we use the BEI framework, that is behavioral interview, event interview framework in our as an interview technique. So what we typically try to do is we try to gauge the candidate purely from a foundational competency perspective to see whether the candidate is fitting or is matching to the expected competency level, proficiency level of those competencies or not. And that's how the tool is able to give that level of information to us. And based on that, my recruiters are able to make a call whether they want to move that candidate to the next stage of interview or not. So it purely depends upon for what reason you want to use that tool, whether that tool really fits and is able to give you the right set of solution for it. So you really need to understand your problem first. And based on that particular problem, you really need to analyze the right set of tool. And believe me, since the time I've been using technology and artificial intelligence, it has really helped me specifically in the data decision making. Anybody else? Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm Soma here. I'm actually a soft skills trainer, and my job was to train people. But of late, probably past 2 years, I've seen there is more requirement for people who are training AI, right? So the trainers were not much in used. But when I look into the news, I see that even IIT people are not getting jobs, right? So there's continuous shift in hiring people, and there's always fluctuations. So what is that industry saying to the relevance of soft skills or human touch right now? Also, another second part of it, when AI is used, I've seen when I am training people, people are copy-pasting even a report, like, so that was so funny actually, because people are misusing. And the third would be the dangers of using AI, as your privacy is up in the net. Yeah, thank you so much.
See, dangers of using AI, see, a lot of tools, if you look at in today's scenario, they are all from a data privacy perspective, right? But a lot of tools in the market which are available in the market, they're all GDPR compliant, they're all data privacy compliant, right? And then apart from this, right, when you say people are copying and pasting, right? That's where that is purely on individuals, right? You cannot stop anybody who wants to use that material, right? So it is purely on individuals, but it depends again on person to person. So there you cannot talk about it, because at the end of the day, if it is individual who wants to use it, he'll use it. Whether you say him or not to use it, you cannot have the control. But coming to soft skills, yes, soft skills definitely are important, because AI is not gonna come and teach you the importance of soft skills, right? They are not gonna, so if you have to interact with a customer, right? And if you have to talk, or if you are interacting with your colleague or with interdepartmental, right, peers or anybody, you definitely need to have soft skills. You can give a command to an AI and AI can write an email to you, right? But when you have to personally interact with people, every time you cannot carry a robot with you to interact on your behalf. So the importance of soft skills is always gonna be there, whether. So it's always gonna be there. So I don't think so that should be that's gonna anyway be taken away. Any other questions? Anybody else? Any questions? So, in the end, I'll only mention out here is that artificial intelligence definitely is a boom, but we should be mindful of the fact that we should not be over dependent on technology, because sometimes in the end moment, technology may also backfire. And nature has given us a very beautiful thing, which is our human brain and human mind. We should be cognizant of this fact that this human brain or human mind only has created this AI. So if human mind and human brain has created this AI, that this human mind and human brain can do wonders if it is used in the right way. Thank you so much, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ashish Mahajan. It's amazing to see how AI is changing the game in HR. As a token of our appreciation for the presence and contribution, I humbly invite Mr. Mohan Raj TS, Dean Placements and Corporate Relations, GIBS Business School, to present a memento to Mr. Ashish Mahajan. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is someone with a vast experience in HR. Please welcome Mr. Praveen Kamath. With over 30 years of experience in strategic HR and leadership roles, Mr. Praveen Kamath has made a significant impact in large-scale manufacturing, IT, and ITES organizations. He has a proven track record in leading global teams, talent management, and HR processes. Over the last 20 years, Mr. Praveen Kamath has been associated with Wipro Limited, where he has held several critical roles, including Global Leader for Talent Acquisition, Global Leader for Training and Development, and HR Strategic Initiative Leader across the US, Europe, and Asia. Let's welcome him with the round of applause.
We started 30 minutes late. Ashish took 45 minutes. I will do only 5 minutes because I have to go back to, there are a lot of youngsters sitting here from Flipkart, and I can see 2-3 brilliant names, and their names were put. I think you should give it to them to speak, right? These nasty old people should not talk much. Given that background of what I come from, I had the fortune of associating with Singularity University way back in 2017. We all hear about AI today. I heard about humanoids way back, 10 years back, sitting in the class of Peter Diamandis in the Singularity University. Today, Peter works with Elon Musk, investing about hundreds of millions of dollars to reform and regenerate healthcare. They're working on a project, you can reverse the age. They're working on intelligence, which can really fast forward your thinking, and putting the chip into your head and having a dynamics of understanding your human brain has been the routine for Singularity University today. In fact, I had a conference call with him yesterday. He's in Hyderabad back. He came to Bangalore a month back. I don't know how many of you sat through his session in Taj Westin. Why I'm giving you these insights? Whether it's AI or human intelligence, ask this boy who's in Flipkart. I'm sure he'll have, Mr. Bansals have transformed e-commerce. They become rich. We did not become rich, okay, by the way. Ask him how much money he has in his bank balance. What I'm trying to impress here, do we have a choice? Whether, all these cliche conversations about video conferencing, reducing shortlisting and longlisting, training, models of teaching by using technology, what are we saying? Do we have a choice? And all these nasty reports of top 4 consulting firms, each one talking about different numbers, and I just get bugged with these numbers because I teach these subjects in the best known B schools across the globe. Be mindful. In the world today, there are less than 1,000 POCs on AI. Everything else is bullshit. We are not leveraging revenue out of AI projects yet. You talk to any hyperscalers. I'm talking about my own experience of dealing with customers in the valley. We have a Mountain View office, and we touch and embrace about 25, 30 hyperscalers in the world. 25, 30 hyperscalers in the world. Even they have not succeeded in really transforming economic models of ensuring AI really can transform. So there is a journey which is started. Rest is all cliche. Journey is started. Having said the journey is started, there are some big transformation which I have seen myself. My father-in-law got operated for prostate cancer last month. Initial stage of carcinoma. Believe me, that 7 hours of operations was not done by a urologist. It was a urologist who specialized in robotics. I don't know how many of you should not, how many of you really seen healthcare from the close quarters? I've seen. Both my parents are no more, and I've seen very, very, very closely healthcare, the kind of transformation AI and technology has done. Inroads have happened in healthcare. Inroads have happened in e-commerce. Inroads have happened in large-scale manufacturing. If you go to Toyota's car manufacturing or truck manufacturing, or Volvo's truck manufacturing back in their country, right? Japan, if you go to, for Toyota's best practices. Yamaguchi was my teacher way back in mid-90s. He was the guru of 5S, right? You go to those factories, and you can also go to TVS in Hosur if you have time. Yeah. The amount of intelligence which automation has done is phenomenal. And they will replace, whether it is driverless cars or driver-owned car. When you upgrade to a luxury car, you will understand this very well. Some of the fans of cars sitting here, I think I can see very few students and a lot of adults and seniors here. If you upgrade, who can afford? Most of them can afford. You guys can. You can after 10 years. When you go and check this, that they don't pay for it. You did not have to pay for it, right? Go to the luxury segment of cars. Go and check what kind of realities you see in the cars. It is phenomenal change of intelligence which has been developed by all of us so that it looks artificial in terms of giving you products and deliverables in the speed in which you want. And we belong to an ecosystem of customers. Okay? So that's one piece. So no choice, team. Rest is all POCs happening to financially viable models. Not happening, boss. I'm part of a HR senior leadership team of a significantly big organization. $11 billion is our revenue. So if it's not happening to the scale in which we operate, there is a mile away. The statistics, ignore for a while. There's a lot of noise there. Okay. Coming to what is that you and me should do? That's of interest to all of us, right? What is that you and me should do? Can you work on data science? How many of us know statistics? That's the language of AI. That's the language of data analytics. When I got back to my education, doing my PhD during COVID, first time I realized my statistical knowledge, which I've learned 30 years back, is null and void. 9th standard daughter of mine taught me statistics again. Initially she said, Papa, Khan Academy देख लो, समझ में नहीं आता है तो मैं पढ़ाता हूँ आपको, सिखाता हूँ. Believe me, team, whether it is NLP or data science, dirty your hands, get into understanding how data can reflect in terms of showcasing what you want. Once you understand the language of data, whether it is Power BI or Python programming, believe me, you want to hear how did I learn? I was the head of HR for Bhanumurthy, was the CEO of Wipro. He's retired. He got retirement about 2 years back. And I used to be head of HR for him. Millions of data we transact, right? And normally when you do a sexy presentation, for a lack of a better word, when the CEO wants to change the pattern of the data, you will always tell him, I'll come back to you with a revised output. He said, don't come back. He did say, don't come back. You're expected to. That's the day I went to Uwais ul Rahman, 4 levels below my hierarchy, is to sit in Delhi. So my agreement with him, हम लोग ओल्ड दिल्ली जाके बिरयानी खाएंगे 11 बजे, लेकिन 6 घंटा मेरे को आपके साथ बैठ के I need to understand data analytics better. That's how I learned Power BI. Team, get your hands dirty. Understand analytics well. Understand data science well. Understand statistics well. Robotics, chatbots, humanoids, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3. We are talking about 4th generation of humanoids. If you go to Machani Group in Bangalore, they have AI Academy as we speak. What are we saying? There is an institutionalized AI Academy teaching publics like you and me. Instead of attending such conferences, please go and attend those classes. If you want to compete with your children, I really mean it. She's just joined RVCA yesterday. She got a seat in the first counseling. And 18th is when she's going to join RVCA. And she has taken life sciences, biotech as a specialization. I was shocked the amount of data the HOD told us they use in biotech. There is no other way. In fact, as we speak, I've called 2 computer specialists to operate on her computer and revise the computer to a sizable model so that she can do all kind of programming. And she's biotech, and I'm not belong to that CS 60 lakhs category. Huh? Neither I have so much of money. That's why kurta, which costs you 100 rupees. I don't have Prince type suit like sir. Let's get into the brass tacks. Understand the dynamics of subsystems of HR. Pick one area, run behind it, optimize your scale, reduce your timeline. End of the day, you have meat at the table, food at the table, only when you can reduce cost. have meaningful decisions and conversations with your business leaders if AI can generate value for your company and your end customer. Everything else is bullshit. Please work on it, work faster, compete with the youngsters, become better, shamelessly unlearn, get your hands dirty. Speed and innovation, I call it as spinnovation, is the way of life. I would have told you many stories. Thanks to Ashish, who's ran away, spoiled my 45 minutes of speech. He's taken my time and he's gone. I'm also going now, Mohan. I would have given 30 minutes of quality time with all of you. Don't worry. In all forums I speak, come back, or you link with me on LinkedIn. I'm in Hyderabad ISB this weekend. If you're available in ISB, please come and join me. If not, next week I'm in IMK. I'm talking on the same subject. Please come and listen to me. Otherwise, we will meet sometime. Good Hafiz. All the best. God bless you all. Technology will bless us. Don't get scared. I'm a computer science graduate, still employed. I'm a computer science graduate, still employed. I'm fairly confident with my aggressive outlook of competing with the best-in-class students. I can stand tall if I bite my teeth every day. If not, obsolescence, as Peter Vale said in his book, Way of Life, people who are superbly prepared are not understanding the fact that obsolescence is the near-reaching reality. It will not spare you or me or the intelligence designed by technology. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Praveen Kamath, for sharing your deep knowledge and experience. Your thoughts on strategic hiring with AI are truly thought-provoking. And now, let's dive deeper into today's theme with panel discussion on using AI for talent acquisition, performance management, and employee engagement. We are excited to have with us Ms. Pallavi Kar. Ms. Pallavi currently holds the position of Associate Director, HR at Tablespace Technologies, a leading organization in the commercial real estate space in India. With more than 16 years of experience, Ms. Pallavi brings a wealth of experience from her previous assignments in diverse industries, including banking, insurance, education, and retail. Her expertise lies in people and change management, particularly during times of organizational restructuring and acquisitions. Welcome, ma'am. Next up, we have Mr. Sumit Premi. Mr. Sumit Premi is the Director of Talent Acquisition at Flipkart, where he leads efforts to design and drive effective hiring processes while building a strong employer brand. A data-driven leader, Mr. Sumit excels in optimizing recruitment teams, refining hiring processes, and fostering robust relationships with stakeholders. With a solid background in designing and executing campus programs and building partnerships with educational institutions, he brings a wealth of experience to his role. Prior to joining Flipkart, he held significant positions at Samsung, R&D Institute, KPMG, and TCS, where he honed his expertise in talent acquisition and HR strategy. Welcome, sir. Next up, we have Ms. Anjana. Ms. Anjana brings over 15 years of rich experience in IT hiring, leadership hiring, diversity recruitment, and project management. She is a seasoned professional in talent acquisition, employee relations, and workforce competence enhancement. Ms. Anjana has a strong proficiency in manpower planning and recruitment, excelling in screening, shortlisting, and aligning compensation strategies. Her deep understanding of industry dynamics, employee satisfaction, and staff development sets her apart in the field. Currently, she leads talent fulfillment for BT Group, following successful stints at Microland, Redfig Technology Group, Thomson Reuters, and Skinless Management Services. And this session will be moderated by Dr. Pallavi Vyas. Dr. Pallavi Vyas has an experience of 14 years in industry, academia, and research. She has a master's in science and an MBA, along with a doctorate in the area of OB and HRM. She has to her credit several research articles and book chapters published in various national and international journals. She has presented papers at national and international conferences and won a couple of Best Paper and Best Case Study awards. She is a strong proponent of the case-based method of teaching and is developing her own short cases in the area of management. She is voluntarily associated with the Liberty Foundation, US, working on empowering the youth, and the iLight Foundation, an organization working for LGBTQ inclusivity for global harmony and peace. Let's give them all a big round of applause as they take the stage.
Thank you so much, Praveen. Before we begin, Mr. Sumit, I think we'll have to swap our places because it will be better for this one. Thank you so much. Yeah. Praveen, you have to do just one there. Thank you so much. So a very good afternoon to our esteemed panelists, experts from the industry and academia and dear students. It's a privilege and also a very opportune moment that we've all gathered here to discuss and deliberate on a very essential topic. And I think all of us are oblivious of the fact that AI has already infiltrated our lives. We heard our experts in the morning. And we heard their viewpoints on how AI has already been impacting a lot of functions, not just in HR, but our day-to-day lives as well. In fact, I was just reading a newspaper which said that there has already been signed the first international AI treaty between the major nations, the US, the UK, and major countries of the European Union, in order to find out what could be the risks, in order to regulate the risks associated with AI, and also ensure that there is responsible use of AI, because we know that AI is out there. And we would constantly be using AI for various functionalities, because it, in a way, does improve how we work. It does make our systems and functions efficient. But then there is also this viewpoint which says that AI is very akin to the scientific calculators. Just like a calculator only helps improve how we calculate, it does not really change the fundamental nature of mathematics. And that's what AI also is. AI is just another tool, probably. AI is just another system that will make us more efficient, but it will not really change the fundamental nature of the various functions and processes. So while we are here to deliberate on all of these areas, specifically in concern with HR, since the panel will be focusing on using AI for talent acquisition, performance management, and employee engagement. While we've set the tone for the panel discussion, I invite all our panelists for today's session. And with their permission, may we start with our discussion for today? All right. So before we discuss anything, I would like to ask my first question, wherein I would want to know from you, probably any one of you could answer this question. How do you think AI has changed the traditional HR function? And do you really think it is helping HR focus on more value-driven tasks? Or do you think it is adding to more challenges? So what is your take on that? So if you would like to take that.
Thank you so much, Pallavi, for the question. I think a lot of our speakers have spoken about it earlier, but I just want to kind of highlight and summarize a few points. I think one of the biggest tasks that AI has been able to do for us is to ensure that the routine tasks, the transactional tasks that we do every day are taken care of. I think when the question was asked, how many of us we use ChatGPT? A lot of us do, right? It just makes our lives easier. Sending out an email, sending out, how do you structure something? So these routine transactional tasks are taken care of, so that HR can actually focus on more strategic initiatives. Things that really matter. So, especially ensuring that the human element, the human touch is maintained. So ensuring that the routine task can be taken over is one part. The second part is, of course, ensuring that, predictive analytics, one part of it is generative AI, the other part of it is predictive AI. Understanding the trends, understanding the data, understanding how things have happened, and basis that, trying to figure out, what could be possible trends that we are looking at it in future, as well as understanding how, things can be improved, how can processes be improved. Mr. Praveen spoke about ensuring that bringing the cost down, bringing the timelines down, and that's where you add value as HR professionals. Right? So that's something that AI can help you do better if you know how to use AI. The third part of it is, of course, bringing the element of human back in human resources. A lot of times what happens is each one of us gets so caught up. Now imagine, a person getting 1,000 resumes per day. Obviously, I do not have time to get, personalized or human attention to other people, right? So when AI is taking care of this, the onboarding, the learning, the kind of experience that I generate for an employee is so much more personalized. And I think that's where the excitement lies. And absolutely agree with you there, Pallavi. I think AI is here to stay, and AI is going to be disruptive in so many ways. It's up to us as to how quickly can we manage the change. But yes, I think what really will stand apart is how you're able to add value, how you're able to showcase that impact as HR professionals and augment AI to help you do your jobs better. Yeah. If any of my panelists want to add on.
Just to add on to what Pallavi said, thank you for the input. So, just giving you a very simple example, right? You as a candidate, when you apply for an organization, you tend to not to hear back because of the many applications which goes in. So today the tools which we use in the organization are so supportive that there is a constant follow-up from AI. It doesn't need a human intervention. And it actually helps people behind to take very important decisions. Or if you tell of an even in the interview process, it is done in a turnaround time of 2 days, wherein you have a large set of panels who do the interviews, and there are so many things captured. So AI helps, but it doesn't mean that we will tend to lose our jobs or something like that. See, when we started, there was a telephone which was there at home, and we used to use that telephone to landlines to call. And today we have mobiles. We have all grown with the age, but we have upskilled ourselves. We have learned more things to manage, and AI will help us. It's an enabler, but few roles which are more very back-end work, those gets obsolete. But yeah, AI is there to help us, is what I want to highlight.
Thanks. I wanted to thank Mr. Praveen. He called us young 2-3 times. I'm feeling good about it already. Yeah, it brought smiles on all our faces. Okay, before I jump into AI, how many of us have Google Maps in their phone? Right. How many of us, when we drive to office or take a cab, open Google Maps every day? We know the route, right? Why do we open Google Map?
Check the traffic.
Check the traffic. But if there was no Google Map, we would have still gone, right? The point I'm trying to drive home is AI is intelligence as a service. Now this tool has been built, and HR function, all the functions within HR, right? TA, PD must be using it. The irony over here is there is a reason there is H in HR. And every conversation I get into, they want to include AI in HR. But of course, that is how life is. That's how we have to evolve, right? Dr. Pallavi, with your permission, what I will do is maybe I'll spend 2 minutes on TA function and AI, right? Which we'll be discussing. That is my core function. How AI has impacted my role, my team's role. I heard a question where there was sense of insecurity with AI coming in, right? Again, I'll ask a question. How many of are into TA space over here or worked with FT in a TA space? See, when you post a job application either on Naukri or LinkedIn, so I'll give you an example. 2 days back, there was a software dev 3 role, one of my team members posted on LinkedIn. Monday, you know how many applications came in? 3,000. Bangalore, of course, full of engineers. Now, me as a poor recruiting leader or my team, can they scan all those CVs? What is an average time each recruiter spends on a CV while scanning? We all wait, right? My CV will be seen by the recruiter. Any guesses? What is an average time? Come on, I need to hear numbers. Minutes, hours, 30 seconds. I mean, of course, I read it somewhere, of course, as a study. It is 7 seconds. Even with 7 seconds, no recruiter is capable of going through 3,000 CVs. Okay? Now, of course, had it been 10 years back, it would have been luck. Jo pehle 100 CV aa gaye, of course, they are lucky enough. But now it is AI, right? And do we think, I think Mr. Praveen touched upon it, in an HR function, have we actually evolved using AI? I have a different viewpoint, but the answer is clearly no. AI for me is a tool for elimination. We have not reached that stage where we are using AI for selection. It is just that garbage in, garbage out sort of methodology. The profiles which are not even relevant, it will filter that out. 2 days back, 2 weeks back, one of the companies came and presented a demo. They said, you don't need your panels to be interviewing. My AI bot will do the interviews. Of course, they have the technology. But let's say you get a call from X company tomorrow where you hear a bot saying, hello, are you interested for a job? What is your qualification? How would be your seriousness? No, right? There's a long way to go there when we make it a selection tool. Because ultimately, AI is not giving jobs to robots, it is giving jobs to human beings. So just to summarize while we proceed the discussion, to start off, AI has played the role of eliminator so far, and not to full extent, to some extent. The journey to become a selection tool is like, I would say it is far off. That would be my take. Yeah, over to you, Dr. Pallavi.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Sumit. In fact, I was going to ask you this question that what all functions of HR have really transformed, and I think we heard it from the speakers in the morning as well, and something which you also said. I think talent acquisition, you would say, is the most impacted function. Would you say that?
Like I said, right, I mean, for example, my peers, she's in talent management space. And like I said, AI is intelligence as a service. She would also be using it in her domain, right? It is about, like, I think she started off with this. How does AI make my life simpler? I will give you an example. Again, sorry for so many examples. Last week, we had this case study competition, Wired. I'm sure the students would be aware of this. The students came in, brilliant presentations. We had given them a difficult problem statement. The presentation, till date, I cannot make a presentation like that. Of course, I know they used AI and ChatGPT and stuff like that. That is being used in every nook and corner of this corporate ecosystem. But what is the differentiator is the thought process. It is the query you write over there, right? It is, I always say, it is not about getting the right answers, it is about asking the right questions. And even in talent management, employee engagement, right? Somebody touched upon prediction analysis. So I have done an HRBP role as well. We started developing a churn model, wherein, basis the data, we put it in our AI model. It gave us an insight that, boss, ye insan the probability of this person leaving is very high, the probability of the next person, and it is not basis only, let's say, the immediate rating. It will have lot of parameters, previous ratings, the compensation, and how many times that person has reached out to HR. So it is there for us to use. How much do we want to use it, which is in the right way? I think that is where we are evolving. That would be my take.
Absolutely. So I think, yeah, please.
Thanks, Dr. Pallavi. In addition to what Sumit has been talking about, we use AI in almost every domain, right? Again, just to augment our journeys, it's not something that is going to replace the human element in HR in the near future. But yes, let's talk about each one of it in detail. He's already spoken about the talent acquisition part of it, but let me talk to you about the onboarding part of it. Now, understand the age in which we live in. Everybody is exposed to information day in, day out, right? The moment I open my Facebook or my Insta or my LinkedIn, everything is so customized, and I'm used to seeing content in a certain manner. So obviously the kind of responses that I'm expecting from anyone, including my new organization, is also similar, if not same, right? So my onboarding journeys can be much more streamlined. He talked about the retention strategy. Obviously, if I use predictive AI and try to figure out what are the trends and patterns, I can use those. If I look at learning and development, I heard somebody from the audience talk about that I'm a soft skills trainer and how do I ensure that I am upgraded to it. Now look at it from a point of view as to what else can I add on, what more can I add on. So for example, say somebody at my role, how do I move on to the next role? That's where AI can support me to go on to the next role. So again, it's up to each one of us as to how do we use it. However, I also want to point out one very, very critical aspect of it, as to understand that somebody who's also building in the AI has their own biases, right? Which we need to be able to filter out. So while as HR we are using it to augment our employees' journeys or life cycles, but how do we use it? Are we able to use it? Are we able to make the AI accountable for it? Now that's a question that we can talk more about.
Thank you so much for that answer that you gave. In fact, something that we were talking initially as well, that AI is definitely helping us, but then probably if you could also share with me, since you just talked about the risks involved and you also said that apart from TA, we are also using it for onboarding. Does it really eliminate the human element somewhere? I mean, if any one of you would like to answer that, if probably Anjana, you would like to share your experience, does it really eliminate that human element, or are there any risks also involved with it if you're using it for employee experience or onboarding, let's say?
It doesn't rule out the human element altogether, Pallavi. That's what I want to highlight. See, today we have AI and let's say for an instance, a candidate has been offered, right? And today the most challenging part for a TA professional is the post-offer and pre-joining period of a candidate, wherein they tend to have 3 offers because of the competition. And also the candidates have started deciding whether how do the companies treat us, do they treat us better, do they communicate with us, and then they join. And the person who is managing this whole continuous candidate engagement program might not have time to talk to all those 3,000 offers which is out in the market. So one of the AI tools which really helps us today is, it helps us in keeping a constant touch with the candidate, telling that, how are you doing? Things are fine. This is what you have to do, and this is the onboarding pattern. Please fill these forms, and this is what it will be. And also, what happens when the basic role of the basic necessity of the paperwork is taken care, the hiring managers and the recruiters get in touch with the candidate to highlight the role, what he'll be getting, or what is that space they are getting into. And what happens with all this thing, it gives a confidence to the candidate, telling that, oh, I'm getting into a organization where there is so much of work to me. So AI has helped people and helped candidates join the organization, make better decisions, right? And today with so many startups and so many spin-offs, and wherein we are talking about people taking individual projects and working on that, getting that hold of that candidate is very, very key, and I feel this AI really helps in those terms.
Sure. Thank you for that answer that you gave, Ms. Sanjana. So while we are talking about, yes, AI is helpful, but still does not eliminate the human element completely. However, do you still think that there are certain HR functions which will be completely taken over by AI? Do you think, like if any one of you could take up that question, probably Pallavi, if you would like to answer that, which functions you think will be taken over?
Interesting question, but I'll answer that slightly differently. Yeah. So, I don't think any function will be completely taken over. But, when we're using AI, we have to be very cognizant about the fact that it is AI after all. Now, I'll just use an example of onboarding. Now, in onboarding, a lot of organizations, what they do is they roll out forms, right? They roll out to take an employee survey after maybe 30 days, after 60 days, after 90 days, or X amount of times, which is great because you get a very unbiased view, you get a complete hold of things, and you are able to see data analytics immediately as to what's kind of ensuring employees stay over. But then again, if you completely lose the human touch over there, right? So for example, at Table Space, what we do is we roll out this employee survey, which is after 30 days of an employee joining in. But at some point of time, you have to also ensure that you are getting that human touch. And I'll tell you why it is so critical, why I keep on emphasizing on that human touch, because eventually at the end of the day, AI lacks the context to make certain decisions, right? Certain, inputs that you as a human being will have, like have we reached a level where AI can take decisions alone and completely eliminate maybe TA or maybe onboarding, or I don't think we are there yet, but it also depends upon us how fast, at which pace we are going. Yeah.
Okay, on the contrary, this is going to increase HR jobs. It is a fact. How many of us have had people analytics team in their org structure 6 years back? No, right? Now we want leaders to lead people analytics, tech analytics. To that extent, one of the role which we created in the HR function, that person's job was to just dig deep into data and give us insights, while the regular work keeps on happening. So this is, I'm sure all of us have studied chemistry. When we put a catalyst to a reaction, it speeds up, right? Yeah. AI does that job. It will increase the response time. It will increase the speed, quality, and stuff like that. At the end, it will provide us with more data, which we will not have bandwidth to play around with. So it is going to further increase the jobs, and trust me, the designations are going to change. It is not going to be a talent acquisition. It could be a talent acquisition plus data insights. That is how it is going to evolve. That's what I think.
And to further add to what you just said, Mr. Sumit, probably there would also be some risks involved, and then you would also have to probably look at how is AI, bringing in more risks as well, because I think somewhere or the other there would be issues with regards to, am I getting the right application? Am I interacting with the right person? Could there be those kinds of issues or risks involved as well with AI?
So like I said, right, we are far from stage when we are making decisions of selection using AI. It is, in TA terms, there is a type 1 error and type 2 error. Type 1 is when you hire the wrong guy after the interview. Second is when you miss out on the right guy. So which happens when you use it as an eliminator. There would be a probability of losing that out. But the only risk with AI, I feel, is, I think, which could be concerning, which is already a concern in Western countries, your data privacy. We ask so many things so that we have to bifurcate, dissect the data points. But that is one concern which might come up, where everybody, even the candidates, might come up and say, where are you using my data? Why do you need my certain preferences? Because companies might do anything. That GDPR and all of that will come into action into TA space. That is the only risk. Other than that, we are there. No, recruiters are not going to lose their jobs. If somebody was asking, recruiter and the HR person will have the final say after doing that. We are doing value-based interviews. A bot will not be able to do value or competency-based interviews. We will be there.
So I think the audience have nothing to worry about.
Certainly not. I'm telling you, start upskilling yourself. There will be more jobs which will be coming up.
Yeah, sure. Please, Anja.
Thank you, Sumit. And just to add on, what I want to tell you, one of the risks what I foresee as a TA professional is, because of AI, most of the resumes look all similar. Yeah, the 10 candidates have the same 10 skills and everything is similar. And the other challenge which we are facing on the ground today is impersonation. There is one candidate taking an interview, there is another guy who is joining, right? These are the challenge which I don't think so AI will be able to solve, but it will grow, it will not come down. And we will still need humans to kind of look at those resumes and, check on the impersonation also. And also the challenges around it. That's what I want to add.
Thank you so much, Anjana. So,
Just adding that, it's a very brilliant point actually what Anjana made, right? The candidates have started using reverse engineering. So I did a pilot over there. I put in one of my JD in ChatGPT and said, can you create a CV matching this JD? The CV was brilliant. No tool at all could have rejected that CV. So I think that's a very brilliant point put up. That is where we will come in and we will see, okay, how do we mitigate that risk? Yeah.
True. I think one part of it is how interestingly AI is shaping up the way we look at talent acquisition. But the other part of it is, while data privacy is one concern, but the other part of it is the ethical considerations also that we need to practice as HR people, right? As HR, we are privy to a lot of information which we are feeding into AI, right? So how considerate are we? And I did highlight upon this issue earlier also, but also understand that AI is still built by a human being. It's built by an actual human being, right? So there might be discriminations, there might be biases. So unless and until we are able to rule that particular part out, while of course the data is still much better than a human being, but is it completely free from error? Maybe not.
So since you've already talked about the challenges and you've just discussed how many ways the HRs have to be more considerate and have to be more looking into things, what competencies do you think the HR professionals will now have to build in themselves so as to overcome these challenges, so as to make sure that they're more relevant, because we know the future of work is now changing. So could you please share your viewpoint on the competencies which HR professionals, because I'm sure there are a lot of people here who would want to listen about that so that they can upskill themselves and so that they can learn the right things. So if you could share your opinion on this, Anjana.
So when I started my career, and there was one HR leader who came to me telling that, see, when you're in a HR profession, the one basic thing you have to remember is business of HR is business. And he kept it as a guideline principle for his organization, and also he was a very famous HR leader. And we always believed that Dave Woolrich was a HR guru for us, and he had written books, and his books were all written. Right, and he also said that one generation of HRs will be the CEOs of the organization, and I have seen that live happening also. So some of the competencies, as I said, world is moving towards specialization. So we are moving towards having more consulting jobs and having very specialized services. When you say you're in TA, we don't only talk about you doing sourcing, scheduling, also we talk about something called as employer value proposition. What is that EVP program you have for the organization and how you are going to build it? How are you going to scale up your organization on the EVP program? What is there? So even in TA, you have like another 4 functions, and it is very important that we upskill ourselves. TA is just not that sifting through CV and doing that, but you have to go and talk to a business manager, understand what is the line of problem, what is that, and what is that resource you get. Today, when you look at the matured markets at UK and US, they are trying to move towards telling that no CV interviews, wherein a person who is working as a carpenter can come to a technical job. And today, India is also moving towards that, right? So please upskill yourself in any area for that matter. And any vertical has so much of specializing in it, right? Like EVP, I said, there is data analytics, even in recruitment. The major challenge what we face today is everyone has data, but no one can read it. Right? We all work on data, but we don't know what to derive out of it. That has become a very big challenge today. And so we have an analytics person who is introduced within the recruitment team just to read the data and make an analysis of it and make a presentation out of it. So every specialization is important, and it becomes very, very important that you work with AI as an enabler and to make some strategic decisions which are very important for you.
You would want to add something?
So she's covered most of it. See, I'll just sum it up. 2 competencies which I feel first and foremost is going to be agility, right? The way things are changing, HR professionals have to change and act quickly. That has to be on top priority of our HR professionals. Second, she touched upon data, right? How, when we talk to our team members, right, the competency which we refer to is data storytelling. Because now business knows that, boss, there is enough and more data with you. Why are you coming and talking in English with us? Everybody hates English. And they say HR speaks the fancy English. And they say without data, you are a person with an opinion, which is fair as well. We don't need to be only going with beautiful presentations, fonts and stuff like that. It is that storytelling with data that is going to shorten the size of the meetings as well and play a very crucial role of HR as a business partner. Be it a TA business partner, HR, TM, it is a business partnering which will evolve. Yeah.
I agree. I think, when Mr. Jayant started the session with 25 years back, when he went and he spoke about being a HR and, the role of HR was not very well defined. But, coming to the time that we are living right now, it's a very exciting time. The way our businesses are changing, the way HR is taking a forefront step in everything that businesses do is truly, truly amazing. And if as HR professionals, we need to be up our game, the first and the foremost skill that each one of us needs to master is managing change. Stop looking at your profile as somebody who's just doing recruitment, somebody who's just doing learning and development, somebody who's just doing onboarding or HR operations or comp and pay. It is no longer about just what I am doing. It is about driving change. It is about driving change in a way where the organization understands it, and to be able to do it, first and foremost, you have to be ready to change. Somebody answered a while ago that, it will, disrupt the status quo of how things are running. Yes, it will. And it is going to be even more disruptive. So be ready, be agile, be on your toes. I think that's the foremost skill that each one of us needs to develop. Thank you.
So thank you so much. I would have one last question, which probably each one of you could answer. Since we've talked about the ways AI has been infiltrating all the HR functions, could you tell me how can leaders ensure that the HR professionals are engaging with AI much better, so as to make sure that they can leverage the efficiencies that AI provides or brings into the HR function? So could you please tell me how can we the HR professionals leverage AI much better and use it for much better efficiency? So if each one of you could answer this in your own words. So Sumit, can we start with you?
Yeah. See, it's very simple, right? Of course, keep your eyes and ears open. As simple as that. There are multiple conferences like this, or there are some demos, techno conferences happening. Just be there, understand what is happening. Right? It is not feasible for us to enroll into course and study it. That is not possible. We have our day jobs as well. Ultimately, HR professionals are the end users. Some of us are building startups using AI and all of that. What we need to do is, we need to be aware what is being developed in the market. Because your organization which you are representing should not be behind that race. Don't be in those confined doors, stay outside. Every month, at least attend 2 or 3 demos. I ensure I do that. Every day there is a demo mail on LinkedIn, we have developed this, hear them, right? That's about it. Keep it very simple. Ears are open, half of the work is done. Yeah, thanks.
All I can say is that you have enough on LinkedIn to learn, and there are enough organizations who will reach out to you telling that about the various AI tools which will help you do your work at the end of the day. But it's your curiosity to learn, your enthusiasm to grow, and believe in specialism. That is the world which is going to turn out to be tomorrow. And learn to read your data. That's very, very important. Thank you.
I agree. I think I recently heard this, saying somewhere where they said that data is the new oxygen. And I truly, truly believe it. That's the interesting world that we are living in. A lot of times people come up and ask, but how do we find time? And it's a very, very important thing because, each one of us is so caught up day in, day out in our mundane tasks. How do we actually find time to unlearn and learn something? Today, while we came in the morning and I was just hearing Sumit speak, he very interestingly said that, my commute to my office is 1 hour, right? And each one of us is in Bangalore at least understands that, right? So why don't we use that time? What is stopping us using the time? I think that's the time he uses in planning. That's the time I use in my learning, right? Every day morning, we are so, inundated by information and data and numbers and everything. Why don't we use that 15-20 minutes? It just, brings in a practice of that continuous learning. And as my colleague Anjana rightly pointed out, it's your curiosity. At the end of the day, if you do not want to be extinct and obsolete like a dinosaur, and I'm assuming no one would, because obviously that's where we are as HR professionals, start investing in yourself and you will have to find the time. It's all about priorities.
I think we can take a few questions as well, since we are good in terms of time. So if we have any questions from the audience, if you would like to ask any specific questions. Jonathan, we have somebody this side.
Hi, thank you so much, all the three, also the host. It was wonderful. Arun here from Boston Technology Corporation. I just want to understand what are the AI tools that some of the privileged companies are able to use. And so I want to know what are the free and paid versions that we can use.
Okay, see, what has happened over time is, which function you are part of?
TA.
TA. Which ATS do you use?
We have lot basically. Zoho is one of them.
Zoho is one of them, right? Zoho did a conference, I think, couple of days back. So, if you ask me, is there a new AI tool which is coming up? There are plenty, right? I mean, you can't even remember the names. Every day somebody will come up that, okay, we are doing this, we will do interviews, we will do XYZ, PQR. The beauty of the fact is, your existing ATSs, because they are also developing. So I have not onboarded any of the tools so far. So we use Zwayam, right, which is acquired by Naukri.
Yeah.
The moment this wind of AI started blowing up, they started upskilling themselves. So what they have incorporated is, they've already incorporated AI features in the ATS, which means what all jobs which have been applied to one of my requisition, their AI recommends me, okay, this is your skill match, this is your fit match, and the probability of this person getting selected is this much. That is one way, right? If your current ATS is not doing that, threaten that company, that boss, I will change the ATS.
Okay.
Because that is where it is happening. And while I am taking demos, because it is very difficult to remember names now, my expectation is I don't want to do a lift and shift for my entire ATS because somebody else is doing. The company we have invested in, right, they have done it. All your bigger players, iSIMS, Greenhouse, SuccessFactors to an extent, Workday, all of them have incorporated AI in their ATSs.
Okay.
Even your job portals, right, from Naukri to LinkedIn and all of that,
That's
even
integration.
LinkedIn Talent Insights, I think it is a brilliant tool. It is a brilliant tool which is going to be a great help for TA professionals, because what business asks from us is talent mapping. Naukri pe aap talent mapping nahi kar sakte ho. LinkedIn Talent Insights is one of the tool. I think it is, if used properly, it can change your 4-hour work into 40 minutes.
Okay.
So that would be my take.
Okay.
Anybody else wants to answer? Otherwise, if it helps you.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll just add on. So there is a lot of buzz about SAP SF, and so what is that? What has SAP done is it started incorporating all the AI tools. Like as Sumit rightly said, like Workday has started incorporating AI tools, but there are few gaps. Like a gap of interview scheduling could not be done. There was an interview scheduling model, but it was not successfully implemented by organizations because of the security issues. So then we started venturing out to other organizations outside. So there was a company called interview.io, which helped us in only in scheduling and making sure the interview is taken care by an external panel. And the challenge today for us was there are so many skills which is coming in today that half the skills are very new to us. And I don't have a technical panel to manage it. So I had to look at someone externally who could do that bit for me. And there was a Flow Career, and there was an interview.io, there's a Glider AI. So there are so many tools, and for every function they have introduced so many AI tools. That's what I just wanted to add up.
Thanks, Sanjay.
So I think there are plenty of tools, it's just that they have to explore which one would work for their organization. Do we have any other question from the audience?
ChatGPT or the AI tool to create their resumes. The question to you is, what are the filters as an HR you look for it? In the process of doing that, you will miss the real candidate who have a real genius people who could not use the AI tool to create their resumes. What are this challenge and an HR, how you tackle this?
Honestly, I've started using interview.io to help me with that, because it's very, very challenging, because all the resumes look the same for me. And there are industry professionals who can talk to the candidate, and it becomes very, very important that you talk to the candidate. And also, you know, the inflow of the employee referrals which come in, and every employee will come and tell that you have not looked at my resume. And when we know that everything looks similar, so human interaction and talking to them becomes very, very critical for us. So, but in our organization, we tend to look at all the resumes. So that's all.
I'll answer. So that is the type 2 error. If somebody you are saying is a deserving candidate, has all the skill set, but did not update the CV rightly, I will reject that candidate right away only. Because that candidate did not put in an effort to do what is required. If you are in a competition where you have to create that right CV, and it is about faking the CV. So what we do is we create a funnel. What Anjana touched upon is there are multiple channels of hiring, right? ER, employee referrals, is one of the core channels where we don't do any filtering. Any candidate that comes through an employee referral, we evaluate it, go through that CV and see what all, if it is the companies, the experience and the projects the person has worked on. Now, when it comes to direct hiring, right, I'll be very honest with you. There is no maths or logic behind it. There is a role of luck over there, right? There is a role of luck over there, and it depends on the recruiter's capability, right? We have worked from the age of Boolean searches and all of that. That right combination of the keywords, right? That becomes recruiter's responsibility. But to your point, it is not solvable because the gap in supply and demand in a country like India is so huge, so huge. Very rarely you are able to do it. At senior level, you are able to filter and all of that. But within the experience range of 2 years to 8 years, it is a massive flood. Luck does play a role over there, and the recruiter's capability. I hope I was able to give an honest and a truthful answer.
A lot of interviews,
Yeah.
but when you go with the impressive resume, we think, oh, this candidate, for starting interview,
The reality comes into picture, yes. Thank you.
And I think using AI tools, probably they can beautify their resumes and get through the interview, but then once you are there in the interview, if you've not really performed well, if you don't really have what you've written in your resume, probably the rejection happens right there. So I think you need to have that, brain which only a human can have.
And not only that, sometimes candidates even crack the interviews as well.
Yeah.
Like she said, right, lip syncing and all of that. But it is not a sprint. The moment you enter the organization, you cannot have somebody else work for you. There are multiple checkpoints. See, people will be there to game the systems. That is why the HR job family exists now. We are the custodians of every organization. We are standing there to ensure right talent comes in, and within that we sustain the right talent.
Do we have any other question from the audience?
Guys, good afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon, panelists. I'm Eugene. I have one question. With all the technology, digitalization, and the blessings of and the disadvantages, have you been able to leverage the predictive analytics? How far those have been actually been put to use? One, apart from talent acquisition and talent management, what other areas in your organization the AI and digitalization or technology tools have been used?
Well, I'll answer this from a broader perspective because, AI is still a very, very, it's still in a very nascent stage in HR where, the full utility of it has not been utilized the way it should be. Right? Now, where it can be utilized, I'll start as I started with onboarding. It's, the moment talent acquisition is over, it starts with onboarding. So understanding what could be an onboarding experience, which is very customized for an employee, depending upon the role that they're joining in, depending upon the location that they're joining in, depending upon their learning preferences, depending upon how they would want to interact. So creating a very customized learning journey for the particular person to ensure that they are able to, seamlessly integrate into the organization. That's one part of it. The second part of it is skill development, right? Capability development of existing employees. Now, for example, let's say I am at a certain role. If I have to skill up to my next role, obviously there will be an element of mentoring, there will be an element of coaching that gets involved, but there will be a lot of functional or behavioral aspects that AI can support me in creating. Considering a lot of organizations run on very lean forces, and as an organization we run on a very lean force, the unique jobs or the unique roles that each organization has actually increased. So in order to create a customized learning experience for capability development of each of these roles, AI becomes very critical. The third part of it is, of course, engagement. How every employee wants to engage. Do they want to engage in a particular manner? Do they want to engage in a visual, in an auditory, in a kinesthetics manner? How would they like to engage? So understanding that and creating an engaging experience for them. AI can also be used to ensure the, looking at the different trends and understanding how exits are happening, where exits are happening. In fact, if you look at it, a lot of organizations have still not started using it, but I foresee this is where it is going to go on towards. A lot of times our exit interviews are just happening because they have to happen, right? For the lack of a better word. But, understanding how and where did we go wrong in terms of being able to retain the employees. In today's day and age, retention is the new recruitment, right? Like how fast can you retain the employees? So, using both the generative and the predictive AI, HR can actually work a lot of new things. Are we there yet? Not yet, but that's where we are aiming to be, yes. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you so much, Pallavi. So I think with this, we'll bring an end to this panel discussion. And before I summarize, I would like to thank all our panelists, Mr. Sumit, Ms. Anjana, and Ms. Pallavi. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and all your experiences that you've had. I'm sure all our audience were able to take a lot of takeaways and insights from the panel discussion. And to summarize today's discussion that we've had, I think AI is here to stay, which all of us know. Probably something like when internet came, we had a lot of skepticism about it. We were doubtful about how effective and efficient will it be. But then we know internet today, even if for a second the Wi-Fi doesn't work, we start calling the IT person. And I think our IT person is always on our calls if at all our laptop doesn't connect. And if we are at fault, we think that the IT person hasn't done his job well and we don't have internet. So I think AI in some way or the other will definitely become that tool that will make things easy for us. But definitely it is not going to take our jobs away because there is that human element which we always would need. As rightly mentioned by our panelists, please upskill yourselves. Please become those change agents. Please have that strategic thought process. Make sure that you are partnering with the right business units. Make sure that you ask your hiring managers and the functional heads, what are the skill sets or what is it that they're looking for, so that you can make the right use of AI and make sure that you onboard the right kind of people. So with this, we bring an end to a very fruitful discussion that we've had today. Thank you so much for being with us. Please do keep in touch, and I hope you've had great learning today. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you to all our panelists for that lovely and thought-provoking discussion. And thank you, Dr. Vyas, for wrapping up the discussion so beautifully. Now it's time to express our gratitude to our wonderful panelists. So we now invite our dignitaries to present souvenirs to our esteemed guests. I would like to invite Dr. Jayanta Chakraborty to kindly present the memento to Mr. Sumit Premi. Thank you, sir. Now, I humbly invite Professor BG to bestow the memento on Ms. Anjana. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Finally, I invite Professor Hari Prakash to come forward and present a token of appreciation to Ms. Pallavi Kar. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Let's give another big round of applause for our amazing guests and their valuable contributions today. As we come to the close of this event, I'd like to invite Ms. Monica to deliver the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Pabli. Good afternoon to one and all present here. It is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to deliver the vote of thanks for this remarkable HR Conclave 2.0. On behalf of GIBS Business School, I would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all the distinguished guests and speakers who have taken time out of their busy schedules to share their wisdom and experiences with us today. First and foremost, I would like to extend a sincere thanks to our Dean of Academics, Dr. Jayanta Chakraborty, and Dean of Placements, Mr. Mohan Raj, for gracing us with your presence. Though our MD, Mr. Ritesh Goyal, could not be with us today, his support and leadership continue to inspire us. We are incredibly grateful for our keynote speakers, Mr. Praveen Kamath and Mr. Ashish Mahajan. Your insights and expertise have enriched our understanding and provided us with new perspectives. Your contributions have been both inspiring and thought-provoking. A big thanks to our panel discussion speakers, Ms. Pallavi Kar, Mr. Sumit Premi, and Ms. Anjana. Your engaging discussions and expert opinions have sparked valuable conversations and have greatly contributed to the success of this conclave. I would also like to extend our deepest appreciation to Dr. Pallavi Vyas, who moderated the panel discussion with such skill and expertise. Your ability to guide the discussion and bring out the best in our speakers was truly commendable, ma'am. A special mention to our corporate relations team and SCRS, without whose dedication and hard work this conclave would not have been possible. Your seamless coordination and today's dedication have made this event a truly successful. Last but not the least, a big thanks to all the attendees and faculties. Your enthusiasm and engagement have made this event truly special. We hope today's discussion have sparked ideas and opportunities for the future. Once again, thank you all for being part of this HR Conclave 2.0. Let us take the knowledge and inspiration we have gained here today and apply it to our journey forward. I now request all our guests and audience to proceed for lunch and networking arranged on the 4th floor. With that, I wish you all a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.